Today we continue with our class Shemoneh Perakim, Rambam, and we start with Sefer Chofetz Chaim. Big topic is the same Lashon Hara general rules, and today's topic is slander. All forms of Lashon Hara are prohibited, even the information is true and accurate. So it's always when we say that something is Lashon Hara or Rehilus is always true, right? It's not slander. Slander is somebody made something up. Only in very specific circumstances it is permissible to say something that would otherwise consider to be Lashon Hara. This will be discussed later, right? As we're going to see for constructive purpose to warn the people wherever the story about this clown that then we discussed. So it was for constructive purpose to warn the people and see the falsehood. Okay, slander, which is information that is not true, referred to as Hatzaras Shemra, literally spreading a bad name. Okay. Is worse than Lashon Hara, which is derogatory but true. Okay, so meaning spreading bad name. Okay. Of course, it's much worse than saying the truth. To relate derogatory information that essentially is true but includes either exaggeration or even slight altering of the fact is also considered Hatzaas Shemra. Meaning, person is telling the story and they skip few details. When the subject will be seen in a very positive light. Okay, stop here. So it's been a long time. I already forgot what we were talking about. Okay, Baruch Hashem, we started a new chapter. It's a little easier. Okay, so in chapter number 6, and the topic is the difference between the pious person and the one who overcomes his desires. Okay, so very interesting, right? So what is the difference between pious person and the one who overcomes his desires? The philosophers have defined a person who overcomes his desires as one who does worthy acts and good deeds, even though he has a tendency toward the base deeds and desires to perform them. He battles these tendencies and does the very opposite of what his soul powers, natural desires, and disposition prompts him to do. Although he acts nobly, he suffers discomfort while doing so. Okay, so I would say it is step 1. So let's do this piece again, and we're going to explain everything it says here. It's very interesting. So I said the philosophers have defined a person who overcomes his desire as one who is a worthy act and good deeds, right? So meaning a person has desire. So, and as we said many times, he has or she has desire because many times because a person put himself or herself in that situation, right? So we also always have to build fences around us not to get close to this desire, right? And if you learn enough how bad is it, so you would not, most likely you would not have the desire. But this person, in our mind, maybe it's a big warrior and he or she fights with all of the temptations and wins, but still there is a problem, okay? Even though he has a tendency toward the base deeds and desire to perform them, right? So the desires and tendencies are still there, but he's winning the battles, okay? He battles this tendency and does the very opposite of what the soul's powers, natural desires, and disposition prompts him to do. Okay, so he has this character, he has these desires, his natural desires, as he said, but he, she fights very hard. So on one hand, it's compliment, on the other hand, it's not exactly. So we're going to see. Although he acts nobly, he suffers discomfort while doing so. So that's the big issue when person suffers from his mitzvahs, right? From his battles. So he said, okay, I overcame, but it was very like not easy and stuff like that. So that's the issue when, and sometimes people even miss their desires. That's even bigger issue. Continue. A pious person, by contrast, conduct himself according to the manner in which he is prompted by his desire and his dispositions. He performs worthy deeds because he wants to, and because this is his nature. But before we start explaining this, we have to know that nobody is being born as a pious person. It means that this person working on himself or herself. It's that's our obligation to change our character, right? To improve our character. So in order not to have these base desires, and the person can test himself. So like if Shulchan Aruch says, or our sages say it's not will of God, Hashem does not like it, so the person would stop and with any desire, right? With any desire, like for example, we're learning in in our medical class today, right? Today or yesterday, I don't remember, about smoking. So if person knows like my job in this world is to serve Hashem, and this smoking is going to limit me in some way, so I would be like hard for me to do some things, right? Because I'm heavy smoker, let's say, right? So if person knows it's not the will of Hashem, he's going to stop right there and cold turkey, just stop, right? Because, and he would not have desire, because why would I want to go against Hashem? I took smoking as an example, but with any desire, be in a bad company, to go in a mixed beach, right? Continue. A pious person, by contrast, conduct himself according to the manner in which he prompts by his desire and dispositions. He performs worthy deed because he wants to, and because this is his nature. Meaning he creates himself this desire. He built himself in this way that he desires only good, only what is beneficial for the service of Hashem. That's the difference between the two people, right? So of course, Leib will be on a level one. We can fight all of our desires, but you remember it's not the end point. You have to go higher or further. Continue. All philosophers agree that the pious person is in a higher rank than the one who overcomes his desire. Nevertheless, one who overcomes his desire resembles a pious person in many ways. He is definitely on a lower level, for his desires to conduct himself basely. Okay. Although he does not act to do so, his desire to do so reflects the perverse trends of his soul. Shlomo HaMelech spoke of him, saying, "A wicked soul desires evil." And he said of the happiness of the pious man experiences when doing good, and the discomfort experience when the person who is not pious perform good deeds. So, and it says, doing justice brings joy to the righteous, but it is a downfall for the worker of iniquity. This reflects the reflects the parallel between the words of the prophets and the words of the philosophers. Okay, so let's do this piece again, and we're going to explain. Very deep stuff. I mean, on one hand, it seems like sounds very simple, but it's not. Okay. All philosophers agree that the pious person is on a higher rank than the one who overcomes his desires. That's obvious. Because why? Because this pious person worked on himself, and now he does not have these desires. He has he fulfills his desires, but desires only to the good. Okay, which is amazing. Continue. Nevertheless, one who overcomes his desires resembles a pious person in many ways, right? But opposite is also true. Opposite meaning this person who overcomes his desire. So at the end, he did not perform bad deeds, right? Okay, he was tempted, he was thinking about it and stuff like that, but at the end, he did not do it. So that's a resemblance between him and the pious person. So pious person is a tzaddik. Okay, just so you know. He's definitely on a lower level, for he desires to conduct himself basely. Okay, so as we said, the reason he has all of these battles and he won the battles, but he had these desires to begin with. And Rambam said many times. So he said, when a bad thought is coming to you, is why? Because your mind is empty of the Torah. Right, so if you have enough Torah, if you put more and more Torah into you, this Torah is going to push off this bad thought. So, but because your mind is shallow, it's not filled with the Torah. That's why you have all of the desires. I mean, it's very harsh, to think that sometimes we're in this category, but that's true. Okay. Because lack of the Torah doesn't matter. Like a person can learn 5 or 7 hours a day, but has these desires just because of that, right? Maybe he needs to learn 9 hours a day and not put himself in over the compromising situations. Continue. Although he does not actually do so, meaning this person who hold himself back, right? Do so. His desires to do so reflects perverse trend of his soul, right? So whatever is in his soul is now coming out, right? So that's what that's what he wants to do, but he knows it is forbidden. That's why he fights. But we always have to go to the root of the problem. Okay, the symptoms, of course, you have to fight the symptoms. That's correct. But for example, a person is sick, has a high fever, so of course you can take a Tylenol and the fear maybe will go down. But you have to identify the source of the fear. Maybe some kind of infection, and just because you brought the fever down, so now you feel a little better, but you would not even look at this. Where's the root cause of the issue? And God forbid, a person may die because he was treating only side effects. Okay, so we always have to go to the root of the issue. The Shlomo HaMelech spoke of this saying, is in Proverbs 21:10. A wicked soul desires evil. So if a person desires evil, so Shlomo HaMelech says it's evil soul. Of course, the soul is cleansable. Right? We have to cleanse and get rid of these things, but he gives us the Agnes. Okay. And he said of the happiness of the pious man, experiences when doing good, and discomfort experienced when a person who is not pious performs the good deeds. So before we continue, it's very interesting sentence. So it says one more time, and we're going to explain. Very interesting. And he said that of the happiness pious man experience when doing good. So some people they do mitzvot, but they feel they try to finish it as soon as possible, maybe do halfway, maybe find leniency, shortcuts, and this and that. So that's and they suffer. The second part of the sentence, they suffer from performing of service of God, and they, if would up to them, and nobody would criticize them, maybe they would not do it at all, right? But the pious man, the tzaddik, is doing so in his happiness, right? Okay, with happiness, good. So as it says in Proverbs also 21:15, doing justice brings joy to the righteous. justice is not only during the court, right? But justice means something that is right. So, for example, justice when you give tzedakah, so tzedakah, it's like you're doing justice. So you have more, right? You have more, but somebody is lacking. So when you give somebody the tzedakah, you also perform an act of justice, or when you're helping someone, or in right. So when doing justice, bring joy to the righteous. Okay. But if it is downfall of the workers of iniquity, but it is a downfall for workers of iniquity. But these good deeds for the workers of iniquity. So for them, it's suffering. Like you see sometimes there are people in shul and they cannot wait until the davening is over. And buddy, you came 10 minutes late. Well, just stop, and he signed, and why and he's pacing back and forth. It's like unbelievable. The guy did and I always feel not even annoyed, but I feel so bad. It's such a pity that person make himself wake up at 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. or whatever time, and now he feels so bad, like he cannot wait until he can go out. That's terrible. This reflects the parallel between the words of the prophet and the words of the philosophers. So just to remind us what we said in the beginning. So sometimes when the Rambam said philosophers, it's not always Jewish philosophers. Just so you know, not always. So, but we're going to see. So next paragraph. On another hand, when we research our sage's statement on this question, we found that the person who has inclination to sin and desire to do so is on a higher and more complete level than the one who has no desire for them and does not feel discomfort in spurning them. They said that however great a person is, his desire to sin in his discomfort is spurning sin will be greater. Okay, we'll see. Indeed, they illustrate this principle with the stories, and said, 1 second, whoever is greater than his colleague possesses the evil inclination that is greater than his. And they said that the reward given for overcoming one's desire is commensurate with the discomfort he felt in overcoming it. And they said, according to the discomfort is a reward. And they warned against saying, by nature I have no desire to perform such a sin, even had it not been forbidden by the Torah. Okay, so let's stop here. We're going back and try to understand what it says here. It's very interesting. So Rambam continues. On another hand, when we research our sages' statement of this question, we found that a person who has an inclination to sin and desires to do so is on a higher level and more complete level than the one who does not have desire for them. Okay, let's stop here. So Rambam is saying, but our sages say, in some sense, a person who has desire, it does not act on these desires, so he's on a higher level. So, for example, a person likes to eat not kosher for whatever reason. Let's say he tried once and he liked it, and now he wants to eat it again. But he works on himself. And another person is he disgusted from these shrimps or something, right? So the in some sense, that person who says, I'm not going to eat it, but it's not because I don't like it. It's not because I'm disgusted, but I'm not going to eat it just because HaShem said so. right? Okay, I don't have desire, but I don't have desire not because it's disgusting, but I don't have desire because Hashem said so. So in this sense, he's on a higher level. That person who that does not like it, that find it disgusting. Continue, and does not feel discomfort inspiring them. Okay. They said that however great a person is, his desire to sin and his discomfort inspiring the sin will be greater. So we have to understand, and some people find it surprising. And I always say, like, when you go higher and higher spiritually, so your Yetzer Hara is going to grow with you, right? So to counterbalance your spirituality. So don't think just because you start observing things and you read books and you try to watch your eyes and this and that, and you try to dress modestly and watch your speech, watch people that you're talking to, and right, and stuff like that. So don't think that Yetzer Hara is going to leave you alone. Opposite is true. It's going to be even stronger. So with your spiritual advancement, the Yetzer Hara grows. So, and if somebody is a great rabbi or some tzaddik, does not mean that he does not have Yetzer Hara. He does, and much bigger than you, but he controls it, right? Okay. Continue. Indeed, they illustrate this with the principle with the stories. Okay. Continue. Stories and said, whoever is greater than his colleague possesses evil inclination that is greater than his. I would say greater in a spiritual level. So if somebody is greater than his colleague, I mean in a spiritual level, as we said, has a bigger Yetzer Hara, for sure. Right, so don't think that because somebody is achieve a higher level, he's temptations free. Absolutely not. And they said that the reward given for overcoming one's desires is commensurate with discomfort he felt to overcoming it. And of course, as they say in Judaism, we have A for efforts. Right, so not all the time you're going to win, right? In whatever endeavors you are, but at least you try and you put all of your efforts, and you remember that outcome is up to HaShem, right? But the more you try, the more you put all of this overcome, right? Okay, so the reward is commensurate with a fight, right? That you put on with these desires, for sure. So if somebody does not have a desire, the reward is not as big, not as big. Okay. And they said according to the discomfort is a reward. Continue. And they warned against saying, by nature, I have no desire to perform such a sin, even had it not been forbidden by the Torah. So we're going to see why is that. So a person say, yeah, but by nature, I don't have desire to perform this sin, even if it's not forbidden for the Torah. For example, people who were born religious, so they see shrimps or seafood, they feel disgusted, like people eat this, I don't know, all of the things, right? So they feel disgusted. So they say, even if it would not be forbidden by the Torah, I would not eat it, like a pig or something, right? They would not eat it. So you say, don't say it. Okay. Why is that? So continue with next paragraph. Thus they quote, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, a person should not say, it is impossible for me to eat milk and meat, it is impossible for me to wear shatnez, or it's impossible for me to engage in forbidden sexual relations. Instead, he should say, it is possible for me, but why should I do it? My Father in heaven decrees against it. So it's very, very important. So not to be prideful, right? And say it's impossible for me, right? So Let's read it one more time. We're going to explain one by one. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said, a person should not say, it is impossible for me to eat milk and meat together. Okay, how do you know? The whole world is eating, and they have these cheeseburgers, and they pay, I don't know, more for cheeseburger and stuff like that, right? And it's in Italian kitchen, in French kitchen, they have all of the mixes, meat and milk, and it's people pay top dollars to eat these dishes. So meaning it's not disgusting. So why say it's impossible for you, right? Maybe if you try once, you would not be able to stop, right? So it is impossible for me to wear sharpness. So how do you know that you don't have sharpness? So I think I heard the report somewhere they found sharpness is this what is it, Uggs or something like these boots. It's unbelievable. So and who knew? I don't know why would they have sharpness there, but that's a big issue. So I think it's not fixable. If it's in a jacket, for example, like even like I don't know why would somebody fix even a jacket? I'm not sure how much they would charge. It's easier the way I see it. It's easier just go and buy a new jacket, right? Then try to fix the old one. Okay. Where sharpness. So you don't know where the sharpness is, or it is impossible for me to engage in forbidden sexual relations. So how do you know, right? Right? You never know. Instead, he should say it is possible for me, right? So he said, yeah, I am only a human. It's possible that but it's possible that even I can fall, right? But what should I do? My Father in heaven decrees against it. So the only reason I don't do it, not because they're bad, because other people around the world, from the nations of the world, they enjoy this. All of these things, all of them, from the whole list, right? So and I don't do it only not because it's disgusting. So some of the things are, but because my Father in heaven said so. So it's like totally different perspectives. So on one hand, the person is humbling himself. On another, he said, I'm not going to cross this line because he's Father in heaven. Okay. So continue. On the surface, these two approaches, that of philosophers and that of the sages, appear to contradict each other. There is, however, not true. They are both true, and there is no discrepancy between them at all. The explanation is as follows. Okay. The qualities that the philosopher deem evil, and concerning which they say that a person who has no desire for them is more elevated than one who has a desire but overcomes it, are those that all people will appreciate as evil. For example, murder, theft, robbery, cheating, damaging a person who has performed no harm, repaying good for evil, demeaning one's parents, and the like. Okay, so let's try to understand what is the comparison. So we try to compare to not me, Rambam is trying to compare two approaches. Who is on higher level? The one who does not have any desires, or opposite, the one who has desires but overcomes them, or like why? Because he said HaShem said so. Okay, so let's do these details. On the surface, the two approaches that the philosophers and the sages appear to contradict each other. Okay, there is, however, not true. They're both true. And there is no discrepancy between them at all. So now we go into details. The explanation is as follows. The quality that the philosopher deem evil, and concerning which they say a person who has no desires for them is more elevated than one who has desires. So it's a first paragraph that we did. So they say the tzaddik who does not have desires to do bad and only desires to do good, so he's on higher level than the person who has desire, because the desires, as we said, comes from this bad soul, right? So he's on a lower level, this guy who has desires but overcame, right? So one more time, has no desire but overcome it, right? So they have desire but overcome it. Those that all people will appreciate as evil. And what desire they had, they overcome it. For example, murder, okay, theft, robbery, cheating, damaging a person. So I mean, everybody understands that it's negative things, right? Damaging a person who has performed no harm. Repaying good for evil, demeaning one's parents, and the like. So those everybody universally accept that those negative things. Okay, right? Because if we say meat and milk, the combination milk and milk, not everybody, only Jews, and I guess only religious Jews would say other eat and they have no problem with that. Continue. These are the next paragraph. These are the commandments which, even if they had not been recorded in the Torah, it would have been proper to inscribe them. Okay, describe them. They are referred to by some of these wise men of the later generations who have fallen into the sickness of the sect of Medabrim, as rational rational commandments. There is no doubt that a soul that desires to perform any of these acts is a soul that deprives qualities. For refined soul will not desire any of these base things at all, and will not suffer discomfort for holding back from them. Okay, so let's try to understand what it says here. Okay, so from the beginning, and we're going to expand. Let's see. It's a very short chapter. So it says there are commandments. These are commandments. So meaning this murder, theft, and so on. These are commandments which, even if they had not been recorded in the Torah, it would have been proper to inscribe them. So there is, as we said, universally recognizable bad deeds, right, as a murder and theft. So even without Torah, so we have to remember that Torah was given much later, like not from the beginning of the world, right? People lived by 6 and then 7 laws of Noah, right, for many years. And in addition to these 7 laws of Noah, we have all of these rational laws, right? All of this that makes sense. That you don't need somebody to come to you and say that you have to observe them. For example, shatnez, we need somebody to come to us and explain what is shatnez, and don't do it, even though we don't understand, but it does not make any difference. Or the question was asked today about kilaim. But kilaim doesn't make sense. I don't think so. It does not also, right? It's one of the hukim, one of the laws that do not have like logical explanation. Even though there is some explanation, but it's not the main point of the explanation of the laws. Continue. They are referred to by the some of the wise men of the later generation who have fallen into the sickness of the sect of Medabrim, rational commandments, right? As rational commandments. So those people say, okay, so those are rational commandments. So let me quickly, if I can find, I don't want to take your time, but I want to see Medabrim, what we said. It says, see chapter 1 with the notes. 1 second, chapter 4. Okay, quickly. Chapter 1 with the notes. Okay, here we go. A sect of Arab philosophers The root of the word medaber is daber, speak. The name medaber was given to the sect because the member perfected the techniques of philosophic dialogue. Okay. So all of the people who can speak a lot, but if you listen to what they speak, it's that there's no substance. Okay, it sounds logical but empty. Okay. So one more time. So after we see these Arabs, okay, with the philosophy, they are referred to by some wise men of a later generation who fallen into the sickness of the sect Medabrim. So I guess some Jews also follow that as rational commandments. Okay, so they call it all these rational commandments, which is not very far from the truth. I mean, we understand it's not good. There is no doubt that a soul that desires to perform any of these acts is a soul that deprives qualities, meaning to murder someone. Right? For a refined soul will not desire any of these base things at all, and will not suffer discomfort from holding back from them. Okay, so that's main point of Rambam. So maybe some things, for example, if somebody wants to eat cheese, milk and meat together, so a person can suffer, right? While this is not allowed, that is not allowed, and or some forbidden relationship. But this one, the murder, nobody suffered that he can. I mean, normal people that he cannot murder or steal or other things. Okay. Continue. In a contrast, the matters concerning which our sages said that a person who overcomes his natural inclination is greater and thus earns the greater reward refers to the mitzvot that require obedience. For in truth, had the Torah not be forbidden, had the Torah not forbidden them, they would not be considered evil at all. For this reason, our sages said that a person should continue to desire them and should feel that that the only thing preventing him is a Torah decree. It's very, very interesting approach, and we're going to explain. So one more time. In a contrast, the matters concerning which the sages said that the person who overcomes his natural inclination is greater and thus earns greater rewards. To refer to mitzvahs require obedience. So all of these mitzvahs, our sages say the bigger test, the bigger is inclination, the bigger is reward. That's what our sages say. So philosophers say no. If he has no desires, that's the best. Our sages no. They say if somebody has desires and overcomes, he has a greater reward, right? And all of these things that they're not bad by nature, right? For example, if a person did not pray or I don't know, did not put tefillin, for example, or other or did not, or he wants to eat meat and milk together, the whole world eating it together, right? That it's absolutely normal for them. So these things, whatever a person wants to do, or that right, which is forbidden by the Torah, are not bad in the essence. They're not bad for other people, right? For in truth, the Torah is not forbidding them. Had the Torah not forbidden them, they would not be considered evil at all. So as we said, the whole world is doing this, and we don't consider these people evil who eat milk and meat together, right? Or eat pig, right? They're not evil. For this reason, our sages said that the person should continue to desire them. So it's very interesting. So don't say disgusted. So say I'm not going to eat it, right? Desire them, and he should feel that the only thing preventing him is a Torah decree. So if he said it is very disgusting, this pork is very disgusting, and then he said, look, I disgusting, I want to vomit, but let me try this piece of pork, not so disgusting. It smells actually very, very nice. So let me try. right? So if the only barrier that he had, that it was in his mind was very disgusting, it's going to be broken down like very very fast, right? But if he says, I know it is delicious because other people like stand in line to eat it, but I'm not going to eat it because Hashem said so. So that's a different approach. Any questions, by the way, on what we said? Somebody? Okay, no problem. So we continue. Realize the greatness of their wisdom by contemplating the example they gave. They did not say that a person should not say, it is impossible for me to kill, right? Or that it is impossible for me to steal, or that it is impossible for me to lie. But what can I do, right? Instead, they quote mention mitzvot that all require obedience and avoidance, the avoidance of milk and meat, burning sharpness, forbidden sexual relations, right? So obedience meaning that you bend down your will and you do what Hashem wants. That's called obedience, right? Not again, it's not because somebody is suffering, but it's not stealing. Okay, if we steal, so somebody is going to lose. But if we eat milk and meat together, who is going to lose? So I bought kosher milk. I got kosher meat. So who is going to lose? You understand? So the only reason we don't do it because Hashem said so. Okay, so let's do this paragraph one more time and we explain further. Realize that the greatness of their wisdom, meaning our sages, by contemplating the example they gave. So they gave only these three examples. They did not say that a person should not say, it is impossible for me to kill. So of course, anybody can kill, like even accidentally. Sometimes you're angry with somebody, you want to kill him in the spur of the moment, maybe push somewhere, like, or throw something into the person, right? Or that it is impossible for me to steal, right? Which is not true. So maybe if nobody would see that you would take something, right? Or that it is impossible for me to lie, right? Also not true. People lie very often. But what can I do? What can I do? Meaning that my Father in heaven told me not to do it. Because people usually, like normal people, don't have tendency to kill somebody, right? Maybe on this, like maybe it's like emotionally for 1 second you want to kill the person, but otherwise like you would not. It was only thought for a few seconds. That's it. Instead, they quote mention mitzvahs that all require obedience, right? The avoidance of milk and milk, bearing sharpness, and for forbidden sexual relations. Okay. So forbidden sexual relations, again, like for the whole world, there is no problem for a non-Jews, right? That they don't need to get married. So their marriage is their agreement to live together, man and woman. So even though they met today, they go home together and they're married until they decided they no longer want to be together. They don't need to get official married. That's the marriage. But for a Jew, it's not like that, right? So for him, it would be forbidden relationships, right? That's contrary to the whole world. Okay. So for when we say for forbidden sexual relation, it's not like he's like incest only, right? It's not. So continue. Next paragraph. These mitzvahs and the like are called hukim, decrees. So the decree meaning there is almost no explanation, right? About which it is said, Talmud Yoma, these are decrees that I have established for you. You have no permission to query about them. Then nations of the world dispute them, and Satan accuses concerning them. For example, the red heifer. and the goat sent to Azazel. The commandments that the latter thinkers, referred to as rational, are called mitzvot by our sages. Okay. So let's try to understand this piece. Okay. These mitzvahs and the like are called hukim, decrees. So decree of the king, when a king tells you to do things, so you don't question why. Maybe you have second opinion, maybe you're against it, maybe you're not comfortable. So if you're not comfortable, you don't want to do it. So they kill you. It's very simple, right? Whoever does not follow the order of the king is considered to be a rebel against the king, and there is a death penalty according to the Torah. Okay, so one more time, these mitzvahs and the like are called hukim, decrees, about which it said, these are decrees that I have established for you. So HaShem said, right, these are decrees established for you. You have no permission to query about them. So once once a person starts querying things and in which he has no understanding, and there are many arrogant people who said that it does not make sense, or even simple things, right? So we made a clip about gambling, right? And we said that whoever is gambles, so he steals from another person. Why? In simple logic, I also just explained, because other person does not want to give it to you, right? Even though you sat down to play cards and you agreed on the rules. I don't know the rules, but whatever rules are. So if you have this card, so you win. If he had that card, he win, no problem. So but when you lose and he takes your money, so you feel bad. It's like you don't want to give your money, right? You in some sense you feel like it is a taken away from you. So it's like stealing. So we of course we explain with sources. And there are a few clowns that say this logic is not attainable, like stupid people. I told them it's a logic of the Torah. Like we don't care about your understanding or not understanding. If you don't understand, maybe you're a little slow, right? But it's a logic of the Torah. But if person like that start querying the sharpness, right, and he would say, what is it? What difference does it make? So you have linen and wool together. What is the difference? This is good material. This is good material. So it's like, they with their rationale that they're going to stop all of these mitzvahs for sure, right? Continue. The nations of the world dispute them, right? So they make fun of us, just so you know, right? Dispute them. And the Satan accuses concerning them. For example, red heifer, right? So red cow. So what's the problem with red cow? So it's not logical. What is not logical? So the ashes of red cow mixed with water were sprinkled on the people who were in contact with the dead, or who were other ways of contamination. And this water, it's like purification water, would make them pure. Very simple. But at the same time, people who are involved in preparation of this water, of these ashes of the red cow, they themselves became impure, right? Even though they start doing, they had to be pure when they would be involved, right? You have to, of course, you have to kill the cow. You have to burn it, make ashes. Right, then they do mixture and stuff like that. You have to carry this container with ashes, with water. So all of these people who were involved, they were impure. I think, even if I remember correctly, even a person who was sprinkled. So how is it possible? So he sprinkles on other people. He make everybody pure, and he becomes impure. How is it possible? Does not make sense. Of course, that's what these nations of the world said. Whatever you Torah is not logical, and I'm going to prove you. And that's one of the proof. Or second one, right? The goat sent to Azazel. So Azazel, it's like this place in the desert, and in some sense, it was sent to Eitzachara. right? To bribe the Tzachara, demons and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go into details. I read what Rashi said, what Ramban said. It's very interesting. So so how is it possible that on the holiest day of the calendar, the Yom Kippur, we send this goat to the demons? How is it possible? Like, it does not make sense, right? So are you with HaShem, or you with HaShem and also you want some help from the demons, right? So that's what the nations of the world come, and it's a hara of like ignorant people would say, right? Very interesting, right? So, but HaShem said, send to go to Azazel. I understand. I do not understand. Does not make any difference. So, what I know that this the goat sent to the Azazel is actually help with the sins of the whole nation. That's what I care. Okay, continue. The commandments that later thinkers refer to rationale are called mitzvot by our sages. So rational meaning that there are explanations for this red heifer, and as go to the Azazel, there is no explanations. Okay, so maybe for eating kosher, they say maybe it's healthier. Maybe shchita is the kosher shchita is better because the animal is not. It is not enough time for animal to get scared to inject like bad stuff into the blood, like this natural reaction of the animal. Okay, so but. Right, so you can always find rationale about these mitzvahs, but not for those who came. There is no rationale, except that Hashem said so. Continue, next paragraph. With the above, we have explained that the nature of the sins concerning which a person who has no desire for them will be more esteemed than the one who overcomes his desire. And the nature of the sins where the opposite is true. The nature of the sins where the opposite is true. Okay. This is the magnificent point and an impressive resolution of the two approaches. A careful look at the terminology used also indicates the correctness of the explanation. This concludes the contents of this chapter. Okay, so let's do this piece again. And we're going to explain. With the above, we have explained that the nature of the sins concerning which person who has no desire for them will be more esteemed than the one who overcomes his desire. So it's going to the beginning of the chapter when we say a person who does not have desires will be more esteemed, right, on a higher level, spiritual level, than a person who has these desires. Even though none of them act on their desires, but one does not have and one was working on desires. Right? And the nature of the sins were the opposite, overcome his desires, and the nature of the sins were the opposite is true. Okay. This is a magnificent point and an impressive resolution of two approaches, right? And a careful look of the terminology used also indicates the correctness of the explanations. This concludes the contents of this chapter. Okay. So let's see. Let me check time quickly. A second. Okay. I guess we stop here. We finished one chapter. It's the first time ever we finished one chapter in one class, but it's very interesting. Any questions on what we said? Okay, so 1 second. I want to get my thing. I want to get to the sharpness. 1 second. It's my wife's thing. Okay. So the question was asked about kilaim, right? So kilaim. So first time of kilaim, and it's I'm I'm going by the list of what was given there, and I'm going to add a few more. So it's actually animals, right? And it says it's actually directly from the Torah, that from Chumash, that do not plow with ox and donkey together. Right? Meaning one animal is bigger and one is smaller, because why? Because of course ox is stronger, right? Ox is stronger than donkey, and donkey is going to suffer. Okay, so and of course we say do not put them together in one barn or something. Why? Because they might get too friendly. So we don't want the mixture, right? We're not allowed to crossbreed the animals. Okay, that's very important. A second type of kilaim is actually, as we said today, also discuss a little, is actually milk and meat together. So kilaim is a mixture, right? So we have a mixture of animals, right? So we're not allowed to mix animals, crossbreed animals, even work them together. So you have to keep them separately. Second is a food. Food meaning is a meat and milk, and all of this apply today, right? All the next one, and we actually also mentioned today, right? It's when in shatnez, so it's also a mixture. So shatnez is a mixture of wool and linen together in one garment. So if you have in separate garments, like you have one garment and you have another garment, there is no problem. It's in one garment. So and every time, just to remind us, every time when you buy such a garment, you have to check it. Well, when you buy, no, not such a garment, apologies. When you buy a wool garment, right, or a linen garment, you have to check. You have to check. There is special labs. I'm not sure where other people live, and but please find out wherever you have lab. So you have to get your things, and you have to get your things checked, right, in this lab. Especially men's suits, for sure, right? So if it has wool, some some wool 100% synthetic, so that's a different story. But even then, just to go get checked, get the stamp, and I mean, it does not cost much money. Maybe if you live very far from that person, it's a little inconvenient, but that's it. So that does not take very long time, right? But if person buys this suit, for example, or whatever buys, and it has shatnez, the mixture of wool and linen together. So men, since every second he wears the suit, and in a more expensive one that they put here in this part, so it would be like straight and nice and straight. So they would put here things, and in a lab they know where to look. They make cut in a sleeve. They would cut like in the back, right, to check the color of the suit, and they know where to look, and they have a microscope. They check the fibers, and if you want, they can fix it for you, like to sew back. But it's actually cost like 3 times more money than to open it up, right? So okay, so sometimes people can just leave it as it is. I have all of my suits open. I never fix them. I mean, that's fine. It's that does not bother. I mean, they make small like cut in a sleeve. Okay, no problem. Okay, so that's also kilaim, and the next one is kilaim, meaning with the plants, right? Meaning grafting. So that's why it's very, very important. When you buy esrog, right, on Sukkot, you buy esrog, to buy it from reliable person, from kosher source, because esrog is very delicate fruit, and it's not as strong. So, and lemon is much stronger than esrog. So what they do, they draft what is it, estrog to the lemon tree. That's dangerous. So we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to do that. That's absolutely forbidden. So, but of course there is a kosher supervision. But people, if you buy from not reliable people, look, this estrog costs so much money. Like if they use lemon, it's like a lemon costs, I don't know, like say, I don't know, like 40 cents, let's say a lemon, right? Or if you buy wholesale, I don't know, maybe 10 cents, and they sell it, let's say, I don't know, only estrog itself, let's say the minimum, like $25. So you can imagine the profit. So for this amount of profit, they're going to make a box. They're going to find a company who is going to bring the box. Don't worry about it, right? So we have to always buy from reliable sources, right? Because otherwise you're going to sin. Instead of shaking lulav and esrog in sukkos, you're going to use kilayim, right? And in Eretz Israel, right, the most strict rules applies with the vineyard, right? So it's actually says in the Torah, so don't sow these seeds in a vineyard, and do not have even like trees, like fruit trees. So we're talking about only fruit trees, only things that produce some edible food, right? If it's just flowers, there is no problem, right? Or some grass, there is no problem. We're talking about edible food. So, and even if you have like orchard and vineyard, you have to build a wall, separating wall. And like quickly, just the definition of the vineyard, that you have 5 vines in 2 rows. So that's a minimum definition of vineyard. So if you have 4 vines, it's not considered to be vineyard. And what else? So we said do not plant 2 species of fruit or vegetables and a tree together. That's kilayim. So in usually it's in Eretz Israel, and usually it's in vineyards. Okay, and the same actually comes with the pots, and right, so that does not have to be only in the earth, but even in the pots. Okay, so that's so for people who lives in exile in the diaspora, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. So only a few rules apply. Okay, so let me see if 1 second. Let me see if I missed something. 1 second. So it's okay. So here's a summary for diaspora. So he says that there is no restriction with planting a different species, different seeds next to each other, only applying in the land of Israel. Number 2, you may not plant food-bearing plants next to the vineyard. Okay, we said that. It must be fences. We said that. We will not plant the food-bearing plants immediately adjacent to the fruit trees. Okay. The distance must be 3 handbreadths. 3 handbreadths, so it's like 10 inches, 11 inches. Okay. Okay, that's the answer. Okay. Any other questions? On any topic? Yeah, go ahead.
About the goat of Azazel, I don't know if you can mention that. If this goat was thrown off a cliff or was sent to the desert?
No. So it's sent to the desert with a person. So a person with a company, right? And then he would push it off the cliff. He would take the ribbon, whatever was the ribbon on the horn of the goat, tied, not tied, maybe with one knot. Have to be very careful. To the cliff and see what happens. Just push it off. And during the first time of the first temple, this ribbon, the second part of the ribbon was in the Holy of Holies, so everybody would see. Like the doors was open, it was tied to the handle of the door, the way I remember, and it would change the color. It was red, and it would turn to the white, so everybody knew that this procedure was done, pushing the goat off the cliff, and the sins were forgiven. So, but later on, when people were too sinful, so this ribbon did not change the color; it still stay red. So they stopped the procedure, not to upset people too much.
And I ask this because I heard from Rabbi and Rabbi in a Shiur that some people use tie in red color, and it's not a good idea.
For what?
They use a red tie.
Red tie?
No. Like the tie from the for the goat. It's like they resemble that, and like a Kabbalistic thing. And
Okay.
Rabbi say this bad idea.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. No problem. Any other questions? Any topic? Okay, so if not, we stop here. So tomorrow, Beezrat HaShem, we're going to back, as I said, to our regular schedule. We're going to learn Kosher kitchen. Beezrat HaShem. All right, thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a good night.
Good night.